The Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for January 10th, 2018 is now in session. I would like to introduce my board. To my far left is Skip Sweeney and Todd Golding. I'm Ivan Valente. To my right is Chris Gerald and Blair Hamilton. To my far right is Heather Freeman, our zoning inspector. Under advice of our legal counsel, we ask that anyone speaking tonight must be sworn in. If you plan on speaking, please stand at this moment. Okay. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help me God. If so, say I do.
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. Tonight, when presenting your case or commenting, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Heather, were the legal notices published in a timely manner?
Yes, they are.
Okay, great. Thank you. Tonight we have 2 appeals. 3-vote majority is required to either approve or deny your appeal. If the request is denied, you have the right to file an appeal. First is variance number 2017-23, Elliott Sign Company on behalf of Concord Development Company, LLC, is requesting a variance from section 30.05D6 to construct a freestanding sign with a sign face of 115 square feet in lieu of the maximum 100 square feet for the property located at 8023 Cryle Road. Please come up and present your case.
Good evening. My name is Amy Noble. I'm an agent of Elliott Sign Company. Address is 3041 East Waterloo Road, Akron, Ohio 44312. We are the local.
And you've been sworn in?
Yes.
Thank you.
We're the local sign manufacturer and installer for the property, 8023 Cryle. Maybe I can adjust this so I can see it as well. There we go. So briefly, go over some features of the property. We have a large building with 408 approximate foot of lineal frontage. The building is divided into 2 parts. One is set up with 28,000 square foot for up to 6 tenants, is what we're told. The other half of the building, with the other 28,000 square foot roughly, is for the anchor tenant, Discount Drug Mart. The building has a large setback from Cryle. There is a buffer area from the edge of the pavement to the existing right-of-way, approximately 30 foot, and then it's more than 200 foot to the building, with the parking lot also tapering at the north end by 30 foot. So the first variance request, and we have both of them, so thank you in advance for your time tonight. The first variance that we have is a request for a freestanding sign. Freestanding sign that we're proposing encompasses both parts of the building, up to 6 tenants and also Discount Drug Mart. The sign has been designed to where equally shared are the 6 tenants and the anchor tenant. The sign is 15.5 foot overall height, which is approximately half of the allowable height for a pylon sign. It features a masonry base matching the building components, internal LED illumination. The top portion features an electronic message center, which is a Daktronics GS6 16 millimeter electronic sign. It's one of the latest. And the property is actually large enough that we would be considered for bonus signage. So code by rights allows on this section of Cryle Road up to 80 square feet. Property is large enough that we would be allowed to have 30 additional feet due to the frontage and bonus signage, which is 130. However, code also caps any one sign at 100 square foot. The sign that we've designed, which we feel is the minimum that would do justice with the heights for each of the tenants, it's only 4 foot long, but you can fit actually 2 lines of copy 8 inches high. With the setback from the road being at least 40 foot, we feel this is the minimum needed to adequately identify the tenants and also keeping the Drug Mart portion where it needs to be. The electronic message center is actually a standard size for Drug Mart, keeping them all the same amongst the stores. Again, this is a standalone business, or if it was a standalone business, it could have 100 square feet. So we're requesting 15 additional square feet to advertise not only 6 tenants, but also the larger anchor tenant in one sign. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
How big are the smaller, the tenant individual signs?
They're sized to where you could have 2 lines, so they're 16 inches high.
Okay.
Sized for 2 lines of copy if they would have a logo that is more than 1 line.
The message sign,
Yes.
if we got rid of, if you remove that, would we be at the 100 square foot that's allowed? If we got rid of the message sign, would that get us close to the 100 square foot that's allowed in the code in the overall area? Or would you still be over, you know?
Well, if that was removed from the sign, yes. It's 15 square feet, so
Okay.
is the overage. And basically that comes from the tenant panel portion.
It looks like it's about 27 square feet total with that sign.
To adequately sign all 6 of the tenants.
The message center, the full color thing, is that because all the other drug marts have that?
Yes.
It's one of the things drug mart says you have to have that out there?
The newer ones, yes.
Do you have any pictures of the newer sign, a newer Drug Mart development? Are they all similar to this?
Yes. Yes, there's one that's identical, is both in Sandusky, Medina, are the recent locations, and they all feature the same size message board.
What I'm struggling with is finding really a hardship here. I mean, I'm just trying to find a way to see where the hardship is, you know, to give you a variance, because if, you know, I guess it's, we need to provide all the tenant signage. Do we really need to have the message board, I mean, on the sign? And I look at it, and from my perspective, if we get rid of that, we could sign all the tenants, we could sign Drug Mart, they can have their name out in front of the street, everyone knows where they're at, and we don't need to provide a variance. I don't know if anyone else has any comments. That's the part I'm struggling with, is seeing the hardship in the sign.
Well, I think our burden is really a practical difficulty, and I'm not sure that you have demonstrated that. However, you know, they're trying to be consistent, you know, a consistent message to their constituents, and it's only 15%. It's not a lot. I mean, honestly, if you reduce that sign by 15 square feet, you would hardly notice a difference.
Anyone else have any other questions for her?
I just have a quick question, though I'm not a member of the board. You might not know the answer to this, but does that message center pertain only to messages from Drug Mart or the other tenants
Drug Mart,
only?
yes. I believe this property is large enough that they could have 2 multi-tenant signs. However, the location doesn't really lend itself to anywhere that we would put 2 signs on the property. And I think that's the real hardship, is trying to get adequate signage that we need for the great setback that is there.
Is that the case, Heather?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Ideally, you could have two signs that are 100 square feet. Is that what you're saying?
I don't have my copy of it.
Mr. Chairman, they would be allowed to do 2 freestanding signs in lieu of the 1. However, they do need to be at least 250 feet away from one another. But
Which it probably could be.
but each one could not be 100 square feet.
What's the max?
The I mean, with their bonus allowance, they're at 150, so they could distribute that between 2 separate freestanding signs, so 75 and 75 or some other way.
Which doesn't really help them at all. Okay. I don't have any questions. Anyone else here then? Everybody good?
We're good.
Okay. Okay, you can be seated. Is there anyone else here that's speaking for or against this appeal that would like to come up? Okay, if there's no further questions, the public hearing for variance number 2017-23 is now closed to the public. I will entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-23.
So moved?
Second?
Thank you. The question is on the approval of variance number 2017-23. The yes vote is for the approval. Oh, I'm sorry, we gotta discuss it, right? I'm fine for this. Okay, it's open for discussion on the board.
I suppose I'd rather have one sign that's a little larger than an additional sign that would further clutter it up. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the message center thing, but I'm trying to envision it. It's like in front of the red wine and brew, like something like that
Yes.
out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, there's no zoning that limits
Yeah,
the message center, so.
yeah, that's which is fine.
All of us may object to that as, not being ideal, but
But
it's not part of the zoning.
I'd rather give for the 15% than go for the expense of putting up another one.
I agree. 2 signs, they probably wouldn't be able to place them
Yeah.
properly. It'd be weird. And it's not a big request. And again, I just like to reiterate, you can hardly tell the difference between 115 and 100 when it's up there.
Skip?
Well, I think if you apply the Duncan standards, it's a close call. You go either way. But in this instance, I agree with you. I don't think it's a big deal. I think the alternative might be worse if that is the option that they're left with. And frankly, that is not it. I mean, that's probably going to be the only sign within hundreds of feet along that stretch of road. Heather, do you know? I mean, does the zoning text give us any kind of guidance as to what their thinking was when they decided to restrict signs to 100 square feet as opposed to 75 square feet or 125 square feet? Do we even know?
I mean, you can jump in, but let me just say, I mean, 100 square feet is a pretty big sign. I mean, you could pretty much put, I don't know, I would think a lot of stuff on there just from that picture, 100 square feet. So I think my assumption is that they probably looked at other, recommendations from other places where code allows, and 100 square feet sure seems like plenty. I mean, I agree that if they put 2, you'd have 2 signs out there, but 2 much smaller signs, because they would be 75 square feet each instead of, one sign at 115.
Right.
Visually, I mean, in my opinion, maybe I'm a little bit more sensitive to this stuff. I think it is a bit intrusive in the landscape and along that road, and I think visually we want to think about what that corridor is. In my opinion, I know that Drug Mart might have a standard for a digital sign, but I don't think, again, in my opinion, that's a reason enough to put in a blinking sign if you need to meet the code requirement. It's my 2 cents.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure the tenants want some, the other tenants want some exposure as well.
Exactly.
So if they had to do 2 signs, to get the same, type size, font size, or whatever you call it, just so that they can see it, you'd have to have the 2 signs, or you're gonna have 15 square feet over our limit so that they can see it. Remember up the street where we had the issue with the car wash, remember? And we did approve to do a little bit bigger, and if you, honestly, if you go by that sign that says car wash, it's pretty small
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being any smaller and being able to see it.
And didn't we just get a application for the plaza that Burgers to Beer is in to have 2 freestanding?
Yes, yes.
We just had that, didn't we?
Yeah.
And those, I assume, would be 100 feet or less because there wasn't a variance
Right.
request for those.
But they put in an extra
Yeah,
set,
and they,
which I didn't support that one either.
well, the problem I had with 2 signs, it's tough enough when you're driving past, I mean, to figure out where you're going, looking at 1 sign, let alone 2, as you're driving up and down. And, I mean, at some point it becomes a safety hazard, I think, with the number. But I don't think that's an issue here.
Okay. Anything else? You
No
got-
comments.
No comments?
Not tonight.
Not tonight, okay. Well, I guess we'll have to wait for next month. All right, the question is on the approval of variance number 2017-23. Yes vote is for the approval of the variance. No vote denies the variance. Heather, please call a vote.
Mr. Collins?
Yes.
Ms. Gerald?
Yes.
Mr. Hamilton?
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney?
Yes.
Mr. Valente?
No. All right, thank you. Next on the docket is variance number 2017-24. Elliott Sign Company on behalf of Concord Development Company LLC proposes to construct the following directional instructional signs at the Discount Drug Mart site located at 8023 Cryle Road, and is requesting a variance from section XXX of the Concord Township Resolution as follows. Do we have to read all of these, A through F? Should I?
Oh, Stephanie.
Stephanie, should I read through all these for the record? Signs A1, A2, B1, and B2 each have 4 square feet of sign area, which violates section 30.05A. The maximum sign area for directional signs shall not exceed 3 square feet. The next variance, sign A1 is set back 2 feet from the street right-of-way, which violates section 30.05D, which requires freestanding signs to be set back 10 feet. The next variance is sign B1 is set back 2 feet from the street right-of-way and 4 feet from the adjoining property line, which violates section 30.05D, which requires freestanding signs to be set back 10 feet from the street right-of-way and 25 feet from the adjoining property lines. The next variance request is sign A2 is set back 0 feet from the right-of-way and 5 feet from the adjoining property line, which violates section 30.05D, which requires freestanding signs to be set back 10 feet from the street right-of-way and 25 feet from the adjoining property lines. The next variance request is for sign B2 is set back 0 feet from the street right-of-way, which violates section 30.05D, which requires freestanding signs to be set back 10 feet. The last variance is sign D is set back 1 foot from the adjoining property line, which violates section 30.05D, which requires freestanding signs to be set back 25 feet. Please come up and present your case. Again, for the record, please state your name, address, and the next one.
Okay. My name is Amy Noble, agent of Elliott Sign. Address there is 3041 East Waterloo Road, Akron, Ohio, 44312.
And you've been sworn in, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
And just so you know, we're gonna vote on these all separately, but go ahead and just talk
Okay.
through all of them at once, and we'll ask questions, the board will ask questions on on each variance.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we already described the property. The second variance request, while it deals with basically 5 directional informational signs, is basically enter exit on the north and the south sides of the property. And then the 5th sign is an instructional sign for the drive-through. Deals primarily with the anchor tenant, Drug Mart. And particular to this property, we have a large anchor tenant that has a drive-through pharmacy on the front of the building. And with this in mind, at other locations that have this similarly, over the past several years, we've designed a sign package for them, which is for potential distracted driving. And we call it that because if you're going to a drive-through pharmacy to fill a prescription, there's a good chance you're distracted by something. I wasn't even familiar with this until I had kids. And then you have them in the back seat and you're thinking about, what flavorings the prescription's going to be in, if you can put it in applesauce to feed to them. They're wonderful, the drive-throughs, and we've designed the sign package with this style of distracted style driving to make it the easiest, to where you can see the signs. It has a high level of contrast, the white and the red, the red and the blue on the white background with the blue border. It's attention catching, and also the height, which the enter exit are 4.5 inches high. Now, letter visibility charts tell you 1 inch for every 10 foot from, as you're driving, from the object to read it. So we've designed this package around this. This is the standard, which is 4 square feet. We are requesting the standard package at the 4 square feet due to the area, the rate of speed, and also the distance that we would put these. Now, the request comes from this area is Drug Mart. Entrance here, north. This is the south. Directional signs on either side. Here, informational sign that we'll talk about in a minute is here. The drive-through pharmacy for the stacking, you have 6 potential individual tenants on this side. Parking lot narrows this way. You're going to enter and immediately look for stacking for the drive-through pharmacy. So we've designed the signs where when you enter, you identify that it's Drug Mart, enter exit, and you're looking for drive-through pharmacy signs here, which points you to the stacking. If you enter here, there's a sign here, and also this one that keeps you in front of Drug Mart that has the larger parking area, instead of cross traffic going into stores for the other tenants.
So I follow it, I think. So when you're with the directional signage, you're trying to drive, you're pushing or directing them to go up that drive aisle.
Yes.
Into the
And
drop-off.
stay out from where people are crossing to go into the stores.
Or it's just circling in and out
Yes.
coming up the wrong aisle.
And so identifying the directional signs at the size that we've tested and had work at different locations that are set up in the same manner, we want to grab their attention here, let them know safely, enter exit, and then immediately keep their attention so you can get in the proper lane for the drive-through and stay on this end of the parking lot.
Okay, to go back a little bit, on the square footage of the sign, can you just, again, the 4 feet and the size of the letters, that's the first variance. Just can you talk us through that a little bit so we understand why you need the additional size of the sign versus the 3 square feet that's allowed?
Yes. We've designed this is a sample of the illuminated drive-through, which will be the enter exit. All the other informational signs are non-illuminated. So these will be at either side of the north and south entrance. And we have a large blue border. We have the Drug Mart logo, which again, red and blue, high contrast levels on the white background. To capture your attention, entrance, exit with arrows.
How tall is the exit text?
The text is 4.5 inches high.
Is that what's driving the size of that sign? The 4x4?
Yes, that's what we've set up in the standard package that works for entrance, exit signs. That's consistent through
Okay.
various stores.
I have one other question, and I had a hard time with this, was why do we need entrance and exit signs? Because it's not that it's one way in and one way out. I mean, they both are in and out to the parking lot. What's driving that we need an entrance and exit sign on either entrance? I mean, we have a shopping center right down the road that has dual entrances, and there isn't a sign that says entrance or exit there either. I get the directional sign. I think that it makes sense, and we could talk about the location and the setbacks and where they're at and why you need variances, but I'm really struggling with why we need an enter and exit sign when both entrances are enter and exit. They can enter from either one.
Okay. With the large setback that you have off of Cryle, was the shopping plaza Cryle Commons by any chance? Because I just blew right past that tonight. The first entrance. My way in. With the large apron and the 30-foot setback to the existing right-of-way, marking the entrance shows you it's coming up, and that each location, since there are two, you have an enter and an exit at each location. That's the whole purpose behind them. Safety, navigation.
So what would happen if there were no signs? I mean, let's say just you decided not to put up any signs. I mean, if someone blew by, like you said, you blew by Cryle, I think you said earlier.
The first entrance,
The first entrance, then they would come up to the second entrance and turn in. So if there was no signage at all, just in the entrance exits, I mean, what would happen?
Well, signage is basically there to direct you. That's the whole purpose, safety,
Right.
motorist traffic coming in. You would be on the interior of the lot before you were ever looking for signs for the drive-through pharmacy. You would already be inside the entrance, or go up to the next road, turn around, come back.
You want to maybe talk through the setbacks that variances you need and the side yard setback variances that you need too for the
Yes.
signs a little bit?
Yes, so obviously, given the location, and I'm sure you had these photos,
Yeah, I appreciate you guys putting the
Wait.
photos out on site.
those are actually full mock-ups of the size of the sign, and we tortured our junior project manager and had him stand out there on a really cold day and take those photos. Those are actually staked at the exact location and size that we'd like to put them. And it does show you that, in bad weather, they're minimal signage. We are standing at the edge of the pavement, looking at the entrance. We feel that they're keeping moderate, is what we would need. As far as getting back to the setbacks, this is driven basically by the location, and we went out and staked locations after the paving had been completed here. So we do have that narrowing of the property as you head to the north. Initially, we had 0 setback first at the south entrance and also at the north entrance. The north entrance, I'm sure you saw from the photos, we changed to 2 foot back because there is a light pole in the way. Only location we could put it is behind that lot light. And it is at the front edge of the property, which again is 30 foot back from the edge of the road.
That's the one marked A1, this one?
Yes. and we have those two set up to match locations. As far as the side yard setbacks on the informational and both northernmost and southernmost signs, we're right against the curb in almost both locations. I don't know if anyone drove through and saw the stakes. We left stakes with the signs out on site, but there's just, on the edge of the pavement, there isn't a whole lot of room for those signs to go.
Yeah, if I remember right, when this came through, the curb was already pretty close to the side property
The
line.
informational sign is directly right on the curb. The southernmost entrance, again, we've staked the sign at a 0 setback, which, this is the photo that I brought, and it does show, this is the setback of the actual sign from the road. Any further back into the property, you're equal with the parking lot, and it's not doing its job. As far as informing the customers, the turns coming up, the entrance, slow down, get ready to turn.
Okay.
If you have other questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Skip, you got any questions? You've been quiet.
Have you talked to the neighbors?
I have not.
And Heather, we didn't receive anything from any of the adjoining property owners, and they've all been notified of the meeting and the variance request, correct?
Correct.
So just to establish, I mean, the reason for the square footage being too large is that it's just a standard for Drug Mart.
It's a standard for visibility issues that we've developed over years of working with them and going into locations that are multi-tenant and also having drive-through with a pharmacy location.
And then the quantity of signs, since the maximum is 2 signs for each point of ingress and egress, that's driven by your feeling that this just has to be highlighted more than 2 signs could offer.
Correct.
Okay.
Can you give me some examples of drug marts where you have these signs? Because the ones I'm thinking of, I don't think they have enter and exit signs.
There is, and forgive me, I'm new to Drug Mart. Our company is not. I just switched. North Canton, I know, does. Sharon Township, Medina off 18 does as well. Trying to think if Canton Road does.
And they feel it's necessary to have their logo.
Right. That's again going to identification so that when they go in and see the pharmacy signs directing traffic, it's a recognition point.
I mean, I understand like the whole Drug Mart deliveries back here, but I mean, to the point of the logo, I was just thinking that exact thing. If you lop off that logo, entrance and exit, problem solved.
Right. I mean, the setback problems aren't solved.
Right.
But-
But as far as the sign of the size of the
Square
sign,
footage.
the square footage of the sign. And there's only one pharmacy there, so drive-through pharmacy kind of resolves itself by going to the one and only Drug Mart there. Just a lot of signs.
I mean, I think the pharmacy sign is important. I'm kind of with Yvonne. I don't know that you need enter and exit signs necessarily. If you miss the one, you're going to hit the other one. And you're going to see the big 115 square foot sign. So the property is ID'd.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel. And the
It's
square-
redundant. It's almost redundant.
Yeah, and the square footage of the signs, I mean, it's another extra, we allow 4, or we allow 3, and they're asking for 4 square feet. Can you fit it in there? I don't know. I guess if you get rid of the Drug Mart logo, you could. And keep the colors. You can.
I mean, how important do they feel the enter and exit signs are? Are they willing to get rid of their logo? Even though they've got this, big colorful thing, monument sign out in front?
I feel that the enter exit on each side of the driveway is very important to them.
But with the logo? Would they agree to do it without the logo? I mean, would they be okay? Is it that important to them?
I believe the positioning of the signs, being closer to the right-of-way where you can clearly see them, and enter and exit on each side of the driveway is the most important.
Let me ask another question about your drawing. You have two other signs that aren't highlighted and we don't have examples of. Does that mean those will not be going in there? Nobody will be coming back at a later date? Some other request for a sign?
Oh, instructional signs C and E?
Yeah, or G and E.
Okay, and then also F. Those are informational signs.
Okay.
And those simply say drive-through drive-through pharmacy with an arrow. And those are far enough in the property, there was no variance needed
Right.
for those.
Oh,
But you've
because
also
they're not
got-
considered directional signs?
But then you also have instructional sign D, which is covered by the zoning, that basically says the
correct.
same thing.
Because,
right?
correct, because
There's
it's
a lot of
set,
signs.
it's not set 25 foot from the
Got
side
it,
property
right,
line.
Right,
Because,
right.
again, we'd be in the middle of the parking lot.
2, 3,
So,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
9.
Jeez.
so your variance for size of the sign is only for A1, A2, B1, and B2. The other signs do not require a variance request for their size.
Right.
Because they are what, not considered?
Mr. Chairman, yeah, the zoning resolution indicates that the instructional ones, the other ones in the parking lot, there is no specified maximum size and that it be no larger than necessary. So those do not require variances, nor zoning permit to be applied for. The only reason why she's asking for a variance on instructional sign D is because it doesn't meet the setback from the
Okay.
adjacent property line.
Okay. All right, you guys got any more questions?
I just have one question to follow up on Chris's comment. Are you indicating that you would amend your application for the enter and exit signs to remove the logo? Or not?
Or to comply with 3 square feet.
In order to comply with it?
Correct.
Maybe I'm still not clear. So it would just say enter and exit, or it would just say you'd have 3 square feet?
Correct. I
You'd
believe
reduce everything on the sign, even the logo. Is that what you're saying?
that would be their option. That would be
Well,
their
we would need-
option.
We would need to know if you're willing to do that, otherwise they have to vote as submitted.
Yeah, okay, so the question is for signs A1, A2, B1, and B2, are you willing to reduce the size of the sign from 4 square feet to 3 square feet? And then they wouldn't need that variance.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind,
Go ahead.
I think what I'm hearing is if you deny them on the 4 square feet, that Drugmark will probably go back and comply with the 3 square feet.
Okay,
Okay, so you don't want to amend, you just want them to vote on what's submitted?
Yes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
okay. And that's just the size of the sign.
Correct.
The other variants we need to approve are your setbacks as well for the signs,
Placement.
placement of the signs.
Correct.
My issue is that I don't see a need for the enter and exit signs. We can go to any development in any community and not everybody has enter and exit signs.
If you had an enter and exit sign at every shopping plaza, it would be crazy out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I'm just having a hard time with that one. And we just talked about putting in one big sign instead of two big signs, having less stuff along the road and corridor as well, so.
I think I just went on record saying I'd rather have less signs than more.
Yeah.
Previous variance, though.
So,
Well, as we all wish that there'd be less signs and more,
Let me
Had these
interject
been
here,
three-
let me interject
had
here
these been-
before we have too much discussion.
Yeah.
yeah, let's
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
well,
close the
yeah,
meeting.
does anyone have any other
No.
further comments or
No.
questions for
No.
the applicant? Okay, thank you. You can be seated. Is there anyone else that is speaking for or against this appeal that'd like to come up? Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-24.
So moved.
Second?
Second? Okay. I'm sorry. I gotta close the meeting first. I'm all over the place tonight. Is there, okay, so there's no further questions from the public. The public hearing for variance number 2017-24 is now closed to the public. Now I will entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-24.
So moved.
And we
Second.
have a second. Thank you. Okay, now it's open for discussion on the call.
If these signs and their placement complied with the zoning requirements, we wouldn't be here. So whether or not we want signs there is not the issue, and I don't think it's appropriate to even address that.
Yep.
I think that's prejudicial. Okay? What we're here to determine is whether or not the signs comply with the zoning text. And are we voting on all?
No, we
All
have
of
to,
them?
we have to vote on each one separately. We'll go through it.
Right.
So the first one is the, the size of the signs.
Like, should we just, yeah, because I want to
We can discuss that now. Let's
Yeah,
discuss that
okay.
first, and then we can discuss the setbacks for each one of the signs if there's discussion needed.
Well, and again, I apply the same standards to the last application that I do to this one, the Duncan standards, the practicality standards, or practical difficulty standard. And when you apply it to this, I think you're looking at a much more substantial request, just based on the square footage, based on percentages. So that right there throws you over the edge, because the sign that at least I analyzed before, according to the same standards, was kind of right on the line, but I think it was appropriate to allow it. This one, it clearly, I think, is too substantial as submitted, and does violate the code. So that's just my opinion.
Plus it's multiple signs.
Well, again, I think by code, they're allowed to have multiple signs.
Yeah. Yeah, but regarding the size, I mean, this is arbitrary. It's being driven by a corporate standard that, doesn't come anywhere close to our zoning. That doesn't mean we should just accept that because it's what they use everywhere else.
No,
No further.
I agree. I think that the signs could potentially be modified to fit within that 3 square feet. The next is a series of setback requests. The first one is, A1 is a 2-foot setback from the right-of-way versus the 10-foot. B1 is also the same, is 2 feet versus the 10-foot from the right-of-way.
So it's 2 feet right away, it should be, what, back here?
Yeah.
Am I understanding it right?
Yeah,
That instead of the sign being here, it should be somewhere back here.
yes, correct. And again, that's pretty significant request.
Do the signs even do any good if they're pushed back further?
I heard probably not, is what I heard him say. So. Skip.
I mean, it's a substantial departure. It- I understand what they're trying to achieve. And, you know, if you look at the tree line there, I mean, ironically, it's right in line with the tree line where it ends. Well, I guarantee you that's going to be gone
Right.
with the next developer who comes in there. And it may stick out like a sore thumb at that point. So, but even, again, that's not really the issue. The issue is the departure from the zoning code and the application of the Duncan factors. And again, I mean, these are not close, I mean, these are not clear cut, admittedly, but I think the substantial nature of the request is significant.
Skip, just for our audience this evening, we have a lot of students here, and perhaps you'd just like to quickly go through the Duncan factors so that these young adults can learn what our standards are that we look at for approving variances.
Yeah, when applicants come before us to ask that they not be required to meet the requirements of the zoning text, they have to give us reasons. And that happens so often that people ended up in court with these issues. And I think the case might have been named
Duncan versus somebody.
Duncan versus
Thank you.
some zoning board, Middlefield. And the issue came up so often that the court decided that there's certain factors that every zoning board, in order to be uniform, take a look at to make sure that they're being fair and reasonable when they make decisions as to whether or not a person can go beyond what the zoning code requires. And those have become known as the Duncan standard. And there's 7 of them, and I'll just read them off. And this is what we like to take into what the case law requires that we take into account when as part of making a decision here. Number 1, whether the property will yield a reasonable return, or whether there can be a beneficial use of the property without the variance, whether the variance is substantial, whether the essential character of the neighborhood would be substantially altered, or adjoining properties suffer a substantial detriment. 4, whether the variance would adversely affect the delivery of government services. 5, whether the property owner purchased the property with the knowledge of the zoning restriction. 6, whether the problem can be solved by some other manner than the granting of the variance. And 7, whether the variance preserves the spirit and intent of the zoning requirement, and whether substantial justice would be done by granting the variance. Now, that doesn't exactly clear things up. Sometimes it makes it more difficult, but it helps. And I like to apply those whenever we can.
Well, the next two, sign A2 and B2, are asking for 0-foot setback from the street right away. So it's even to create a variance. Then the last one, sign D, the setback of 1 foot from the adjoining property line. That one is a little bit different in the fact that, you know, we didn't hear any objection from the neighboring property, something we look for, and that, you know, it makes sense in the location of where they placed that sign to capture deliveries, and there's just not enough room left in that area off to the side that when they develop the property.
To be clear, sign D is about the pharmacy direction.
Oh.
Good question.
And there is another same instructional sign that doesn't require a variance on the other side of the driveway, directly across from where this sign is proposed. So you've got 2 directional signs on either side of the drive, one needing a variance, one not needing a variance.
But there's also.
Oh, G and D are the same sign?
They are not.
Oh,
Right here.
I'm
Right
sorry,
across
man.
from- So, G.
That's what I thought.
Well, G's deliveries,
Correct.
Okay.
right?
So G is.
G's deliveries and D and C are pharmacy.
So C, D, E, and F are
Oh, okay.
pharmacy signs
Okay.
for the drive-through. So
They're not requesting variance for G.
No, just for D, from the side yard.
it's within the property.
And so instructional sign E is the same as D. Is that correct?
E,
E and D are, yeah, the same.
yeah,
And F.
yes.
Right. But they don't need one for F. They'll need a variance for it. G. Asking for, they're asking one for this one right here.
Right.
So, yeah, this one right here. It's a delivery sign.
What is that?
Do we have concern,
This
anyone
one's
have
the same.
concerns
This
with the
one's
sign
the
D
same as this
setback?
one. These are
Okay.
all the same, so the arrow's pointing towards where they drive through the
Right.
front. So it's going to be, they won't try to direct traffic, flow traffic through here.
Right.
Trying to understand the signs.
Okay,
Well, I think from a safety standpoint, you have to have the pharmacy signs on both ingresses and egress areas so that you don't have craziness in that parking lot.
People figure it out. With or without signs.
Well,
They'll
yeah.
figure it out.
so, I don't know.
There are already a lot of signs in this thing. If you wander around that lot long enough, you're going to find your way to where you need to
Oh,
be.
sure. Well, do you have any other discussion? I mean, you know, I agree there's already a lot of signs, but, I mean, I see why they put D where they put D.
And then this,
The internal signs in general, yeah, I mean, I guess that could be us, but we're not controlling that, we're just looking at the side yard setback from D.
this, they don't need one, they don't need to have a variance.
So-
They're here. Those are two.
You guys got anything
That one's okay.
you guys want to add to the rest of the board? You guys all set? That figured out? Or are you more confused?
No, I'm trying to figure out the direction, the reason behind the signage and the direction of the traffic flow, and they just had to talk it out to themselves too, so.
Okay. Okay. If you guys are good, then we can, I'm gonna call a vote, and we're gonna go through each one of these one by one. Okay? All right. Question is on the approval of variance number 2017-24A, which is the first one, which is the 4 square feet of sign area in lieu of the 3 feet that's allowed. The yes vote is for the approval of the variance, and no vote denies the variance. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Golling?
No,
Ms. Gerald?
No.
And Mr. Valente?
No. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, before you go forward, because let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of those signs as designed and before this board, the plans as submitted, it will not be for a 4 square foot sign, it will be for the compliant 3 square foot sign. I just want to make that clear in the record so that the approval of sign A1 for setback purposes doesn't then change it to the 4 square foot sign that was approved.
thank you. So does that make sense to everybody? So if we approve the next one for the setback, it would have to meet
The 3
The 3
Right.
square foot.
Okay?
Agreed.
So we're not thinking about the square footage, we're just looking at the setback. Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
I don't see them.
All right.
I mean, hold on just one second. A1 Alright, so see that
that light post right there?
Mhm.
That light post is right here, so right here is A1, and this is B1. So it's the enter exit signs are up here by the light post. So they want to drop them, you got these two light posts right here, 2 feet behind each one of the light posts versus, I don't know, right there. So that's what they're going, so this one, where they should be, is right there, the variance is for to put them right up here, dump them right behind the light post here. And
But-
this-
Skip, what's your, so
But-
with the rest of
I'm just
us,
trying to figure out which ones we're talking about here. So, but the requirement is another 8 feet back. What you're
yeah,
saying, okay.
yeah, and then
I
and
just
the
wanna
following
know-
one, they need to move it another 10 feet back because they're putting it right on the right-of-way line,
Right,
property, which is the property.
Right.
okay. I just want to
Clear?
be sure about this.
Okay,
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I was just going to point out to Mr. Sweeney, if you look at the exhibit that they submitted as far as it does indicate which ones are A1 or
Yeah.
A1,
Yeah.
that might help you.
Yeah, we were marking them up pretty good.
we were looking at that.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Because
like
it does say B1, A1.
marked all over them.
All right, so the question is on approval of variance appeal number 2017-24B for sign A1 setback of 2 feet. A yes vote is for the approval of the variance, a no vote denies the variance. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Galling,
No.
Ms. Gerald,
No.
Mr. Sweeney,
No.
Mr. Hamilton,
No.
and Mr. Valente.
No. That variance has been denied. The next one is, the question is on the approval of variance number 2017-24C, sign B, a setback of 2 feet. A yes vote is for the approval of the variance, a no vote denies it again. Heather, please call that vote.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to clarify that that sign is requesting actually 2 variances.
Yeah.
One from the front setback and
One
one
from
from
the
the
side.
Oh, okay, I
So what
apologize,
if
thank you.
what if you agree with one and disagree with the other?
This should be 2 different votes. Sorry.
Okay. I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna, the question is on
So
the
the first motion
approval.
should be for the street right-of-way setback and then the adjoining property line setback.
Okay, so the question is approval of variance number, appeal number 2017-24C for sign B1, a 2-foot setback from the street right away for just 2 feet from the street right away. The yes vote is for the approval of the variance, a no vote denies the variance. Heather, please call that vote.
You made a motion, didn't you?
Oh. Nobody?
We did a vote, a motion for the variance,
Variance.
globally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we have to do a motion for each
line item?
individual?
If there's independent, if you want them to stand on their own, yes.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
is there, Heather, did you have a motion and a second for A?
For A1?
When they closed the public hearing, they did a motion, a second for the whole application, not just for A.
Okay.
So we have to
To
go
make
back
this
and...
clear, I would like you to rescind the motion on A1, A2, B1, and B2 for the square footage, which would
Okay,
have to be seconded, and then we'll start again with a motion and a second for each,
each, and then
to
we'll call
make
the
it
vote.
clear. Yeah, so first we'll need to rescind your vote on
Okay.
A.
Okay, we're gonna rescind our vote on the signs, square footage A1, A2, B1, and B2, and from sign A1, and start from the beginning. I will entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-24, A, for signs A1, A2, B1, and B2, square footage variance. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. The question is on the approval of variance number 2017-24. A yes vote is for the approval, a no vote denies the approval. Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Galling,
No.
Ms. Gerald,
No.
Mr. Sweeney,
No.
Mr. Hamilton,
No.
Mr. Valente.
No. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-24 B for sign A, 2-foot setback from the right-of-way.
A1, sign
A1.
Leave that.
A1 for 2-foot setback. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Then the question is on the approval of variance number appeal 2017-24, B for sign A1. The yes vote approves it, and no vote denies it. Heather, please call that vote.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. Okay. I will entertain a motion to approve variance number 2017-24, C for sign B1 for 2-foot setback from the right-of-way.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, the question is on the approval of variance number, appeal number 2017-24, B, or C for sign B1 for the 2-foot setback from the right-of-way. Heather, please call that vote.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. Okay. The next is a motion to approve variance number 2017-24C again, but this is for 4-foot from the adjoining property line setback. The question is on for the approval of variance 2017-24, C, 4-foot side yard, 4-foot adjoining property setback. A yes vote approves it, no vote denies it. Heather, please call that vote.
We have to do a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Damn it.
So moved.
Second?
We
Second?
can go right into the roll call vote then.
Okay.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. All right, I need a motion to approve variance number 2017-24, D for sign 2 to be set back 0 feet from the right-of-way,
Of the street.
from the street right-of-way. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Okay, and then we have a second one with this one, then also 5 feet from the adjoining property. So I need a motion to approve variance number 2017-24, D for 5-foot adjoining property line setback.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Heather, the vote, please.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. Okay. Next is a motion to approve variance number 2017-24E for sign B2 for a 0-foot setback from the street right away. Heather, please call that vote.
We need a
Need a
motion.
motion.
Oh, a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Heather, please call the vote.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. Last one. A motion to approve variance number 2017-24F for sign D is a setback of 1 foot from the adjoining property line. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Heather, please call that vote.
Ms. Gerald?
No.
Mr. Galling?
No.
Mr. Sweeney?
No.
Mr. Hamilton?
No.
Mr. Valente?
No. Thank you for your time and patience in coming in to present tonight. The variances have not been approved. We are going to take a quick recess. Do we have to have a motion for that?
Yes.
A motion to take a quick recess and sign some papers so these kids can get out of here.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you.